Imagine stepping outside on a clear night and looking up, not into a dark speckled sky, but into a luminous, jaw-dropping arch stretching from horizon to horizon. A massive glowing ring system dominates the heavens, like Saturn's, but right here on Earth. But how would this work? Let's dive into the physics and the consequences of giving our planet a set of icy orbiting halos. First, Saturn's rings are made of countless particles, mostly ice, ranging from tiny grains to house-sized chunks. They orbit in a relatively thin, flat disk, extending tens of thousands of kilometers outward, but only a few meters thick. If Earth had a similar system, the rings would need to exist within what's called the Roche limit, a distance where a moon would be torn apart by Earth's gravity, allowing debris to remain in ring form instead of clumping into a new moon. For Earth, this limit is about 18,000 kilometers. So picture a ring system stretching above us, locked between 12,000 and 18,000 kilometers from Earth's center. These rings would cast shimmering shadows across the planet, especially near dawn and dusk. Depending on your latitude, the view would be dramatically different. Near the equator, the rings would appear as a colossal arc slicing the sky, brighter than the moon, hovering motionless above. But as you move toward the poles, the rings would flatten toward the horizon and eventually disappear beneath it. City skylines would include not just skyscrapers and towers, but the ghostly line of the ring system in the background. Ancient cultures would have worshipped them, religions might have formed around them, artists would paint them, poets would write about them. But beyond beauty, the rings would change much more than just aesthetics. For one, nighttime would never be truly dark. The rings would reflect sunlight even at night, especially when the sun's rays skim the horizon. In cities already struggling with light pollution, this celestial glow would make true stargazing even rarer. Now let's talk climate. Rings would block some sunlight during the day in areas under their shadow, creating constant twilight zones. These regions might become cooler, perhaps even forming narrow belts of permanent shade where different ecosystems evolve. Farming, architecture, and even the weather would be reshaped. And the rings wouldn't just sit silently in space. Their orbits would occasionally shift due to gravitational interactions, potentially causing ring debris to fall. Earth would need a robust early warning system to detect ring falls, small chunks burning up in the atmosphere or slamming into the ground. While most pieces would disintegrate, some might survive entry, turning the rings into a long-term natural hazard. On a global scale, satellites and space stations would have to navigate carefully to avoid collisions with ring material. Launching rockets would be riskier and more expensive. The space industry would have to avoid the shimmering minefield above. But let's not forget the cultural impact. Humans would be obsessed with the rings. They become the center of myths, tourism, and even geopolitics. Imagine a country launching missions to study the rings or claim certain segments. There would be space stations orbiting just outside them, like floating observatories, capturing the ring secrets. Entire industries might develop around monitoring and mapping them. In the end, rings would make Earth feel less like a planet and more like a character from science fiction, a world of wonder and danger. So, what if Earth had rings like Saturn? We'd gain a sky that inspires awe every day, lose the simplicity of the night sky, and face new challenges in science, safety, and climate. But one thing's for sure, it would never be boring.